All right, we're on here just for the NFP release here. See what we get NFP and unemployment rates. If the numbers come in hot, we're gonna watch this, see what kind of whippy action we get on it. But you could expect if it's a number that comes in lower, then we could break out above that 63D3. If it comes in hot, expect a little chop up here and then maybe a rotation down. But Meta and Apple, this is Meta beat on earnings and just ripped up Citi. Apple did beat but had a less happy reaction there. And we had Amazon, who also beat and rallied. So these names are kind of propping us up here. Could expect those to get some sort of pullback as well, just based purely on this being a huge move in all those names. So we have 4 minutes till NFP. I'm going to get on here for the release. I'm going to get off and I'll be back on at 8:30. We're going to move on. Oh, I don't want this on this. I want this on the one. So this is how the overnight has been acting, really. Stuck completely tight in this range. I do anticipate this thing kind of cracking this overnight low here. But that first initial candle is going to do something like this. And then it's going to pick slightly, maybe pick a side, crack the high, rotate down, or pick a side, crack the low, rotate up. That's what the algos do on release days. So if I do trade something that's going to be tight, smaller size, just going to look to see if we do crack this high and look like if the number comes in light, then we might look to rotate to that side there. I'm going to create a free copier, delete this one, and pretty this is I'm a little bit it's too not right now. 97 is a liter, cancel. 97 is a liter. Okay, so yeah, like I said, if we do get that a number is beat where it's a better than expected number, I do anticipate this thing kind of giving back some of the gains that it picked up from Meta and Amazon. If it's like very light, and then we also get the unemployment rate to come in slightly lower or slightly higher, then you can see this start to push up. But good news is bad news. Bad news is good news in this market. So just be ready. These are like I said, overnight low, overnight high right here. And then yesterday's low and high are really just right in conjunction. Low is down here. The breakout point where Meta and Amazon and Apple had their release ripped us up to here. Non-farm, we have 40 seconds till the number comes out. You're going to see price start to speed up a little bit, and then we'll see this dome kind of spread out. You'll get a little spready on that bid ask, and then we'll go from there. Like I said, I'm going to be on for just the release, see if there's anything we can catch for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to go drop my son off. Okay. 18 seconds till showtime. We got some. None of this is super important. It's going to be the extremes that we're going to look to see what happens. One second. and there's a dump through the level. Non-farm came out as 353. Consensus was 180. Previous, oh yeah, bad beat there. Unemployment was at 3.7. Consensus was 3.8. So, like I said, a hot number. You expect this thing to dump off, give back some of those Meta and Amazon earnings. You could have had an entry here for a short position to rotate at least down to the 21. We can look to see maybe if it recovers a little bit here, and then possibly look to get in short. 50% of this candle is probably our overnight low, but you kind of wanted to. You'd have to be really ready for this to just be a sell right off the jump. We were mentioning that none of the middle of the range mattered. If it broke the high or the low is where we wanted to take that direction, right? We could have taken this, shorted through there, but now that it's past us, you don't want to try and just catch a falling knife. But really, like that number I said, came in at 353. The forecast was 175, 180 was the consensus. And the unemployment rate came in right in line, so nothing that was a surprise there. I'm going to put a little screen cut here. This is what our numbers were. We'll save that. NFP release. We'll go here. Pop it in the Tradecaster alerts. NFP release. There's your numbers. And in the chat, there's your numbers. So watch where this goes for now, right? See if we recover up to that overnight low. We are going to let this thing kind of settle a little bit. Then you could kind of look to rotate it back through this. But that kind of news, I mean, that number there is basically double what the consensus was, right? 180 is 360. We're at 353. So new jobs being created, unemployment maintaining the same level as expected. So that means the economy is still too strong to cut rates, and that's why you get this move right there. If you were listening, if you had some sort of order below the overnight low or some buy order above the overnight high, that's where you wanted to get involved. If you could have decided to get something right below here, good for you, but you're risking getting triggered into the algo spike to the downside and then running up. But just play the news as you see fit. I'm not a news just completely just trade the news kind of trader, but I wanted to be on here to show you the ability to understand what is going to happen with each type of number release. But you're really not going to be faster than an algo, so you have to have orders kind of set out there ready to go. And then once you're triggered in on one side, you got to get rid of the other side if that allows you to do it right. Gonna stay on for about 5 more minutes. Let this thing settle down. See if it does pick a direction. This is gonna be important depending on where we end up by 8:30 for the market open. If it does recover this number here, then we could look to see some genuine selling down through the overnight low. Now this is creating a base here. It could continue to just sell side and get rid of all of whatever Meta and Amazon had on their earnings, right? So it's just going to bring us back to earth on those earnings, and then maybe rotate us back to highs because of those the guidance that those two companies provided. Apple beat but rotated lower, so Apple's just probably continuing lower right now. Yeah, Apple pre-market, it really didn't move a lot on that, but you can see Apple just got beat up on that earnings, even though they did beat on both fairly well. I'm not sure what their guidance was. Barclays cuts Apple price target to 158 from 160. It's underweight, maintained underweight by Barclays despite Tim Cook's 99% satisfaction boast. Survey reveals customers least happy with this iPhone 15 model. So, yeah, that's what we have here right now. You do have these significant levels that we came right to, gave a wick off on, and then bounced, right? I have it drawn here, 21.25. Also, we have 513.75, which is right pretty much where price came down to exactly. That's on my 30-minute, right? You have it right here, the 30-minute level right to it, ticked it, and bounced. So these levels are significant, even in a news event like today. You're getting a little bit of a delta divergence here, price trying to bounce and trying to cut through the lows when it isn't doing the same thing here. So you might bounce, rotate back to here. If you are looking to continue this short, you got to watch, make sure it maintains holding below this level. You can't let it run through here with a strong candle and then try to short that. Let it come in, reject, and then rotate it back down. I'm not going to take any of that right now. I do have to run out, take my kid to school, but I'm going to leave the stream running. I'm going to leave this up here just so you could see it. It's going to be just an empty screen there with me on, not on there. Actually, maybe I'll just move it to the 30 minute. I'll leave it to the 30 so you could just see what's going on here. I'll maybe, yeah. And that's just our chart for now. I'm not going to take a trade after this point. I really would have liked to have tried to get into that short there, but I just wanted to be on, talk about what the possibilities were for you guys, and then just, you know, I said I was going to be on early. I told you I'd be on here for the release. I was on here for the release. I had a few people show, that was good, but really I'm not trying to jump into this right now, especially 7:35. You know, you might get a bounce, but I would have liked to have taken that short right through that overnight low. Really, it was either way. If it was overnight high or overnight low, it's far enough away where if it was a good move, it wasn't just going to wick you in and wick you out, and then you could actually have some follow through on this. It could continue down here or even further, so just be mindful of that. I'll leave it here. Any questions, comments, or concerns, type it into the chat. I will be back for 8:30. See if I can get some low-fi tunes or something. Go, and I will be back 08:30, so enjoy the tunes. we're going with lo-fi vibes on a Friday. Let's see what we can do here. So the NFP move brought us down straight through what was the overnight high, overnight low, right? All night we've ranged between this green and red line all night. NFP came in hot, basically doubled the jobs created, ran through, and then unemployment also stayed at consensus 3.7%. So we didn't really get too much of a relief. I said to anybody who is looking to kind of get short, wait till it got up into this range here, get a rejection of this level, and then rotate it back down, which is kind of what we got going on right now. These people could still be getting paid come open, but you got to be mindful of what goes on with this kind of move here because of Meta earnings, Meta app and Amazon earnings popping us up. Apple held us down a bit, but Meta, this is a Meta earnings play here. You see that while they're run, Apple sold off after earnings, and Amazon, fat fingers it. See, that's why I'm not really equities guy because I can't type right now. We're kind of in a little bull wedge here on the overnight session, right? Right after earnings, just getting that explosive move to the upside. You know, clearly just all-time high valuation for this company. We do have, Microsoft. Was it carried up by it? No, right? Nothing happened to Microsoft due to these other earnings plays. Still, after its earnings, it sold off after a decent play. Then we rallied back and forth between here. With this NFP number, this 406.18 level has been very important to us. So with the NFP, be mindful of that. Could rotate down into this zone here, 17,440. Might look to see a bounce there, but also could see a continuation through just kind of recovering everything we did yesterday. So that's what I'm looking at for today. I want this to be a clean trading day, a Friday. After yesterday, we made some really good executions. Like I said, we're going to look to do the same type of deal every day, limit our executions to our A+ type setups, just get ourselves really into a point where we're limiting our risk and allowing our runner to run if we are able to get a runner. If not, then we are just going to continue to just take our profit off with our first contract and then let that other contract get stopped out. So that's what our game plan is for today, right? Looking at these zones, that 525 level was very important. We ran right to it. That was like the stopping point, 525 to 513. And then now we've continued to rotate lower. We're going to watch to see if it rotates down to the 440s. If we're going to get a bounce, possibly it's going to come from there. If we bounce in a rally right now, watch this overhead zone between 560 and 580 to continue our sell side. We're just reacting to these levels, seeing what happens when it gets there. If it decides that it wants to go long through it, then we can look to see if we can go long through it. Same thing on the bottom half. If we get to here and we continue through this zone, I just want to take things zone to zone. You can see in the past how these zones have kind of played out. You know, we're sitting on this one here. We rotate. That's how this one got created, right? And we rotate through here. We run into some resistance there. Price slows down. We rotate out of it to all-time highs, and then we stay between these two. Could be a zone as well. Right now, they're just price levels that I have. Come back into it, rotate back down, sit on top of that zone, bounce off that zone, rotate through it, come here, right? It's not completely an exact science here, but it comes pretty close to these zones. Value area, point of control, right? So we're coming to that, staying below this zone. So, and then when you get a good flush through it and you rally through it, they act as good areas for entries and exits. So they are pretty consistent. We're going to use them until they are no longer valid, and then we're going to create new zones. And as the year goes on, I kind of if we get more price discovery within this all-time high area, then that's when I'll recreate new zones and whatnot. But down below, you have all these older levels that I've had as we've come up through, and then when they become less relevant, then they get deleted, and then we redraw them as they become more relevant, right? So we are now open. I'm gonna keep the lo-fi tunes rolling. I'm gonna maybe lower them just a touch, just so you can hear anything I'm saying. Just have them in the background here, just to keep ourselves chill on a NFP Friday. Thanks to anybody who came by for the NFP release. Like I said, on the release, I expected this to either flush the low if it was a bad number, right, a hot number, or it was going to flush the high if it was a good number, I guess. Not so many jobs created. So it's like good is bad, bad is good here. We got the immediate flush down. I didn't have any entries out. I would have liked to have had one on here and got one off at the bottom of this little zone here. But realistically, I didn't want to get whipped in, whipped out. But I thought if we did get a good flush, this is far enough away because we were up here. This is far enough away to where we could be safely involved in a trade that wasn't necessarily that first little, because the first little price action went up right here, and then it decided to dump. It was very quick, but you could see it happening where it was trying to grab a little liquidity, maybe for people who were trying to be tight long, stop them out quick and then run them down. So our opening range is super, super tight here. It is 74 ticks. It seems to be consistently in that 70 range, especially lately. So we're gonna watch this price, see if it comes down into this range. The new overnight, I'm gonna leave this red line up here because it was an important level prior to NFP, and then really we have this line here that is our pre-market low. So if we do crack that pre-market low, look to see this thing rotate down, possibly down to 450, into that 440, 450 area to get us a bounce into this yellow zone here, right? That's going to clean up this whole meta earnings move. If we are going to see any significant bounce, it may want to come down into here. But also, like I said, if we come up into that zone there, we'll look to short it from up top. But we're reacting to levels. We're going to be aggressive with our entries if we get our setups, and then we are going to let our runners be trailed out per the rules. You have the S&Ps rolling, right? Here's that 30-minute. Peaked up above for about a minute or two, and then we run right back below 49.33.25, looking to crack the low here, and then possibly wrote down to 24.50 and into, like I said, that move that came yesterday. That yellow zone there at 49.10 is a pretty important level to be monitoring. The breakdown of this little trend line that we had going came right back to it. Maybe that breakdown point, like right where we're at 49.24, is a good flush point, so it could initiate some more selling just based on yesterday's crack. If it fails it and rotates back up, it's kind of negating some of this trend line break idea, and then we may rotate back. But realistically, there's still a possibility that has some more selling in the tank. So just watch it, be mindful of it. Tradecaster.com. If you're over on YouTube, swing over there. We're going to start doing some giveaways. You can do a 7-day free trial. There's no skin off your back if you go over there. It just helps out with my streaming. It organizes everything over there. I can do all my giveaways, monitor one chat, and do all that the right way. So see, we ticked off right on that yellow zone. Sorry. Right on that yellow zone, just in case you're not over there. We are flat. We haven't taken any trades yet. I was monitoring that zone there, right here, but I wanted that to get a little bit lower. Really, I mean, it could have came right to there. That's that gap. So ticked off on that little gap down move from Monday into Tuesday. So we're looking at this to clean up this whole move here. Maybe you get a bounce to 25s and then a sell-off. If not, you want to rotate up into this liquidity zone here and see if it's going to act as resistance, right? 60 to about 85. That's our range. So 60 to 85, that's that pre-market, right, area. It's this zone right here is what we're looking to target as far as a short opportunity is concerned. We want to see it reject that initial overnight low point where we broke down from the non-farm. Kind of recover that a bit. We got a downtrending VWAP. We kind of took off on Meta earnings. That was our big Meta, and Amazon really kind of crushed it yesterday. So these are the names that we're watching to try and maybe give some back of this huge move that we have here. Right. I know some people will be watching this line here. It's just, where's our lines at? Here we go. We're looking at this trend line here. Did crack already. So maybe we get that rotation through. After a, initial crack, grab some liquidity, come back through it, rotate back to the downside. Otherwise, this might have created a new bottom end of its little wedge that it wants to create here. Or maybe it's even here. Really, I adjust these as I see them playing out. Something in this range, though, is more likely. So that's Meta. You got Amazon. Also created a huge spike, but then just sort of faltered a bit, flattened out. We do have this key level here. That's important. And then to the high side, right about here, that's important there. And then even beyond that, this high, that spike is there. So those are the key zones to be watching for Amazon. If we're gonna get it to move the Nasdaq, but really, thank you. I draw everything on the continuous contract here. Oh. DXY is pumping highs based on strong U.S. economy numbers, so that's still pushing highs. It's interesting that they're acting in confluence. Apple was selling off yesterday, but is rebounding a bit right now. And Microsoft also is looking to try and mess around with this level once again. I think is going to try and come back down to that 406.18. Could look to be a bounce play from there, though, so just be mindful of that. We are pushing up towards that area where we're looking to short from, but we don't have any entry yet because we are really middle of the range. We grabbed some liquidity here down at 70. Now we are pushing to highs. You could potentially look to be shorting, like I said, between this low volume area between 60 and 80 is that real area to short. You could be patient and short it, waiting for it to get up to that red line, or you could wait, between that red and yellow line, see if we can get something where price gets right to there. Like I said, Friday, we did well yesterday. We're not trying to give back on bad executions. We're trying to give everything. We're looking at everything to give us some confluence and really give us that opportunity to get one good trade in on a Friday to maximize our return, try and rotate through some levels. I could possibly not take any trades today, just based purely on non-farm and kind of really understanding the dynamics of the week. We should get some cleaner moves as the day progresses, right? This was a decent move right now. We did bounce off a liquidity zone, so but it wasn't quite at one of my major levels, right? It was getting there. It was pretty close. 70 was, like I said, that gap fill pretty much of Tuesday night open. So I wanted to get either into that range or over here, but you could see it in the past. This was a little bit above. This was a little bit above. So the zone might be a little bit off, but the one that we have drawn on our actual trading platform was pretty spot on, right to the tick, topped it off. Could rotate, right, like I said, right to this this upper zone here, 60 to 80. If it does just kind of push right through it, you could see something where we sit on top of it and rotate all the way to the overnight high for the night. And we got to see what happens at each little level. Just react to price action. Let the price tell us what it's going to do, and we're going to go from there. I always say that, so I'm going to maybe stop saying let's go from there. But we're going to look at this, be mindful of it. We're getting closer to our little short zone there, but you see the delta pushing very, very strong to the upside. We got some congruence with price and delta. I want to see this get over to here. Maybe give me a wick test. Show me something that tells me that it wants to reject that 79 to 74, 80 range there, right? Right now we are rejecting that 60 level. We hit the 60 pretty much to a tick. So if we get that again, maybe one more touch on it, maybe a wick off on this. I don't expect this to V bottom off of here or V top or whatever. Completely reject first minute candle. But we are in that area where we do want to look for my short, right? You see it ticked off on that zone. But I need that second layer of confluence here. Microsoft's still selling. We want this to maybe pop the high once, give us a delta divergence where we push down a little and then try to make new price action to highs, and delta doesn't play along with that. Doesn't break that wick high on there. Should initiate some sellers to pull in. If we do get an entry where we get the full blown, basically double top, secondary try to push through liquidity grab into our zone, we're gonna look to get one on at our price point, hopefully up in there. Wick this high, get a failure of this little swing high here to get some people stopped out, because this kind of got some shorts involved. It seemed like a pretty nice move, and then it just faltered and stabilized. Got one more push down, got more shorts involved, and then now it's stopped out those secondary, right? If you were in here for a short, maybe your stops are above here, your run. If you're short this move here, your stop's probably above this high, so you're gonna look to see this get run. If that gets run and it's just a stop run, you're gonna see the price do that. It's gonna speed up. There's gonna be some sort of liquidity grab or something where you're gonna notice that it's a move that's not sustainable, but then you're going to see delta diverge, right? You're going to push up one time. Right now, delta's congruent, right? So this push above here is fine, right? Like that's just telling me that we should probably continue in that direction. S&P's is pretty much pushing to the high side from its lows, so we should get this thing to run this level here. I want to get this to be a right ray, not a left ray. Okay. A zone on the S&Ps is up at that 49.50 area again. So we do have room to the upside here. This could just squeeze the rest of the day, or like for the time being, of just trying to get these NFP shorts out and kind of mess around with them, and be a Friday where we grab some liquidity all over the place. All right, we're looking at starting to have price slow down exactly at these highs, right? We didn't quite break that high yet, so we didn't get any sort of like wick test on it, but this is a significant area, right? Like I said there, it chopped up there, it chopped here. It used this as resistance on the way down. That was a good short entry for anybody who took that, like I called out before I left the stream on the 7:40 hour. So there you go, there's a push up, but you're still getting that good delta. So a hard, heavy delta should get this thing to kind of continue to rotate. NFP was here. I'm gonna put this here as NFP number. So I'm gonna just make it a different color just so I know what it is, like a light blue. I'm gonna do this. That's pre-NFP. So that's where we were at. Probably look to maybe just be mindful of it, possibly recover it because we bounced, we held below it, we held above it, we held below it. If you extended this to the left, right? If this was just a left ray here, you can see how holding, 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 holding. Then you flush it with the NFP. Now you're getting some pretty good delta here. It's pushing up high side. I got no tilt at the moment. I didn't see anything there. Pretty clean move off this liquidity zone though from 70. We did want it to get more deep into here, maybe a little bit further up to that 49, that 50 level, but 70 was a decent level to bounce off of as well. Microsoft just broke these pre-market highs, so it could continue on. Have this now, this zone here, the top end of it is 85 with the little wick test down to 79. So right where we're at right there. So if it kind of bounces around and holds here, if it bounces around and holds, maybe look to continue on to that overnight high. If I want to fade that overnight high, that might be where I want to look to take my short. To maybe even, but I would have to be a little quick with it and then see what reaction I get at this overnight here. But we just cleaned up NFP, right? That was that pre-NFP number. We cleaned it up, 605s. Liquidity zone here. You can see all the orders that from the overnight, how much volume was conducted here and how low volume we were here. So that break of this from a low volume node to a high volume node pretty much is exactly what we're looking at there. But you can see these 30-minute candles right on the NASDAQ. That 30-minute was pretty strong right off of that key level. It was exactly 65 even, right to the tick. I didn't draw that now. That's been drawn up since back here. So that level was pretty strong. So we're going to note that for later. But now we're pushing up to the highs at 41s, 50s. That seems like it's just in play here right now at the moment based on this 30-minute push. We have the NASDAQ, the S&Ps now pushing to this level here, which sort of is a decent zone for a rejection. Just be mindful of it because we did have that breakdown of the trend line from, we broke down here, flushed it, re-accepted above it, and then failed it with the non-farm. So now that we're coming right back to where that breakdown would be again, these trend lines kind of play for a little while afterwards before they start to fizzle out. So that's a right to the tick on there. Just be mindful of that. Could possibly rotate from that point. And then if that happens, then we're going to watch this NASDAQ for a bit of just kind of a rotation. Look at this delta, man. Straight up, price action straight up, right off of this. We're getting a little bit of a tweezer top there. I'm not necessarily looking to short through this area yet. I want to see it maybe come down, fail it, come back up, then fail it a second time before I think that this is actually going to be a short. But just being mindful of the S&Ps running right into that area that we were noting before. And then we have this here on the NQ, like I said, that 17,633 level there, and the 4150, which is just above it right there. So that's two zones that could short from there, but we didn't quite make it to here, so we possibly could not quite make it to the high. If it's going to be a range bound type day, if it's going to be a trend day where it's continuing on to the upside, look to break the highs and continue on, and we're going to have to see what kind of price action we have above these levels, right? We had that fade and failure after the FOMC, so we're going to look to see if this will hold. But we're just going to be mindful of it. We did reject that level pretty good, right? That's a decent push down. Delta's now pushing, so you're seeing that play out. We need to see maybe a bounce from here and then a rotation, maybe a lower high into that. Then you could take that second short there. If this is just going to reject and rotate straight from here, it might just be because, like I said, for this S&Ps, I drew that zone up right there for you. That's short right off of that tick there. You're floating, $300 in profit per contract if you were mindful of that area for it to be a rejection zone. So just purely based on price action for that guy there. NASDAQ, we're looking here at 17,585, which is the bottom end, right? Which is the bottom end there. Right here, we're flushing a little bit of that overnight low again. So now, like I said, if this is going to be a good sell for us, we want to see maybe this thing pop up even back into that range there before we do accept a sell. But right, it looked like it. I started to talk about this being a little tweezer top, price slowed down, but with this delta just being pretty much straight up, price being straight up, I didn't trust that this is just going to sell off immediately right as it got off to here. I wanted to see maybe one more liquidity grab. So we still possibly could see it, like a bounce off of this overnight low. We did get pretty high up into that range there. There is some liquidity at that spot right here. We did gap down, so to clean that little gap up right there would be to that little tick. So maybe somebody front ran that. So we are starting to get a little bit of a push where Delta's not following through. So maybe look to bounce off VWAP. And now it's actually pushing. So we got to our area where we want to short, right? Somewhere in this zone. We said it was from 60s to 80s. We're in that area right now, but we blasted through it, and now we're retesting and holding on top of it. That's something that we have to watch here. But that is a pretty big wick to grab above, right to a point of control, right back into a liquidity zone. So we're going to watch this zone, watch this level, see if it can give us an opportunity. Microsoft is selling off pretty hard. See if we can get this to keep going. Still flat. Still flat. Still waiting to see if this is going to push the low here. It looks like it wants to. It's getting heavy. Not really getting much of that A+ confluence that I want to see to get this thing on. But if I would have got on, with one here and waited for the confluence to get my second contract on and never got it, I could just be trailing this and securing one contract at a time. That's the only thing I could think for myself as far as an adjustment is concerned for this kind of entry to get us back to being a little selectively aggressive. But it's a Friday, like I said. Yesterday we did pretty well on 2 accounts. Today we're looking to see if we could just capitalize one or two decent trades. We don't expect home runs like we got yesterday every day, but we want to try and put ourselves in the position to be able to maximize that, right? So I don't want to be playing around in zones that I don't know for sure are going to react. This one, ticked it and V'd off. Right now we ticked this zone here, which is not really, I didn't draw up a zone, but we ticked right to the top end of some of this overnight liquidity, and we rotated off of that. So really right now we're not getting any sort of like full confluence. We're just hitting levels and selling off, or hitting levels and buying up, right? So like I said, with the S&Ps rotating to the downside from that spot that I drew up right there, be mindful of that level. Again, if we return there, I don't know if we'll be able to. And if, let's say, the NASDAQ gets up into this blue line again and falters, and you don't get this delta to push above it, then we're going to look to see if we can get this short now down and then rotate through and rotate all the way back down here. I think we might be able to get that, but we might not be able to get the entry because we're not going to come back into this zone to get it for us, right? A flush of 60 probably gets some acceleration to the downside because that's the bottom end of the zone, right? We're at the bottom end of the zone here. If it's not going to be just a liquidity grab to rotate back up, which it looks like it might be, like with the Microsoft hitting off right again, once again, 406.18, you guys see maybe if Microsoft flushes this level and starts to rotate down, then you get the NASDAQ to continue to flush. But if Microsoft wants to play a bounce here and rotate higher, then we might get that to do that as well. I think my latency is getting a little bit crappy. Yeah, while we're here, while we're kind of being a little patient, I actually want to restart this. No, we're good. While we're being a little patient, like I said yesterday, we're going to look to do a giveaway on TradeCaster next Thursday. If I can get my TradeCaster up to 25 viewers on Thursday, we're going to give away a free month. Announce all the rules to it over in my TradeCaster lobby on Monday. So bring some friends that you know likes to trade. Sign them up for a 7-day free trial. If you're trying to get into a TradeCaster membership that you want to kind of keep that free trial going for one more month where you can maximize your benefits from it, maybe get a few good trades off of some zones here with me or with Deck or with anybody in TradeCaster, and then you could pay for your full membership once you make some money with that free month. Right now I'm trying to do my best here to help you out, get some good explanations of what I'm trying to do based on price action. But coming next week and following weeks, we're going to try and do some giveaways, but all those giveaways are going to happen over in TradeCaster. So if you're on YouTube, hit the link in the bio of whatever the explanation in the bottom of this video is, and then I will put it also in the chat. So you can click over in the chat. You can come over there, like I said, 7-day free trial. Even if you're watching the stream after the fact right now, sign up. Maybe if you're going to get a 7-day free trial, wait till Monday to sign up. Unless you're watching live right now, go over there. You can do it now, but you'll start. I wouldn't start on the weekend because you're losing out on 2 days. So unless you want to go run through some of the education and some of that stuff there, I don't like the way this data latency is. So I'm going to do a little quick reboot of the program. Sometimes when I leave it, it will be annoyed. And also when I'm streaming, it doesn't like it as much. So I'm going to just leave that alone. NASDAQ is 77% tilty to the long side, so be watching this. If we do get to an area, Microsoft bounced really, really, really good off that 406.18. So that level is pretty important. I drew this up a few days ago, and it's been reacting to this 406.18 nonstop, right, until this boots back up. Watch it. It got tilty long, right, 77%-ish. Now the micros are down to 67%, so it might continue on because that tilt is kind of losing its gusto. I don't have much here right now. Top Step decided that it's going to go choppy, so I'm looking to see if I can get that. NASDAQ is 75% long still. So let's watch this at our levels here. Are we getting the divergence? Yes, right? Close, but there is some push here. If we can fail this level here, I want to get maybe a close of this candle, see what happens. If we don't close above 605, we'll take one short. But if this delta starts to push us through this level again here, I don't want to enter purely on that. So we did close there below. Give me one more little kind of push above it. Now I'll take this short here. I'll take one here. Stop's gonna go over the highs for now. This is gonna be our trade from just based on our plan. We may add one on below our overnight low here. The stop's gonna go there. The first take profit will be getting one off at the bottom of this area there. So just based purely on our delta divergence here. If we pop our head above this 605 level again, I'm going to look to possibly move this ad up. So if we flush below 605, we'll get there. We're looking at one good trade, one loss. I said I'm going to maximize my losses at 2 full losses. So that's 2 full losses. We're looking at this here just to be mindful of it. Apple rotating. I don't care. Meta broke the highs and is kind of failing it a little bit. So if we do get a little bit more of a push here with delta just staying flat and price not pushing up, we have tilt heavy long. Like I said, it was at 70 something percent. I don't know what it is right now because I can't see it, but this was our setup, right? A run up, a failure, come back to that level again, fail it. And that's all I could ask for with the delta divergence. It's the same thing that we did yesterday. So we're going to look to maximize this kind of the gain here. I have this stop a little wide right now, so I'm not looking to get fully stopped. So if I start to see this thing to get some strength, some delta pushing above these areas and price holding, I'm going to cut the trade so I don't get a full loss on it. And then if we do get the add-on, we're going to tighten up our stops a bit here. You see our level 2 is kind of speeding up. We're right at break even right here. If we do get the flush, we should get our add. Oh, there's something that happened there. I don't know what that was, so I'm going to tighten up a bit. I'm going to tighten it up a little. I don't want to get run over right now because I don't know what just released. It was 9 o'clock. Okay, so that's what my problem is. I just broke one of my rules of entering within 5 minutes of an hourly close, but we're in now at 9, so technically didn't really break the rules. If we flush this low here, I'm moving my add to there, and then my first off is going to be where the add is going to be, and then we're going to just let this thing kind of run. First off is going to be VWAP. We're bouncing around a bit too much here, where I don't like this delta. Like I said, you see delta starting to push up like that. I think we're just going to cut this at the, if it breaks above the area here, just prior to the NFP number. Like I said, we're only taking 2 shots, 2 losses on a day, but it looks like we're rejecting it now, which is a good little push. If we break down below here, we should get that continuation. I am minimizing my loss here because if it does break above here, I think we will get a big kind of run up to the high side. And the way price is acting with delta pushing up, I think we might get that negation of our level here. Being patient with it, let that stop here do its own, let it do its thing. I did reduce my risk from the high because I think if we do crack this high here, based on the way price is kind of speeding up and we're just grabbing liquidity here, that potentially if it does break there, then we're gonna be out of this trade. But now we're failing this high again, so maybe we could get this now to rotate down through our add, and then once we get our add on, we're gonna minimize our risk even more. We're gonna pretty much get ourselves just above this 605 level with both of our stops, which we might do anyway right now, because if we fail this breakdown, then we're going to rotate to the high side. So I'm going to mitigate my risk a little bit there, pulling my stop to that 605 level, just above it at 609, because if we do crack above it again, we probably look to continue on. And I don't want to be involved. I want to just cut some of these losses short of full max 300. I don't want to be, see with that thing, there's like a liquidity grab there. I'm out on this, flatten that. I don't want to be involved right now, right? Because that's just too strong. That's a liquidity grab there. It seems like it wants to push. If we get, shaken out right now and this thing just melts off, then so be it. I really don't feel the need to play along with that. Just to me, the way Delta was pushing up, it kind of negated the idea that I had going on there. And with the bounce in Microsoft and Meta still breaking highs, like there's nothing that's saying that this is super, super weak. Apple still kind of pushing up. Microsoft also bouncing and just kind of getting to the higher end. It did reject a little bit, but nothing that's saying, hey, we're going to sell off here. We kind of grabbed some liquidity below our zone, and now we're rotating high. So we're going to look to take... Oh, I don't know what the hell happened here. Did I not enter that on a copier? What the hell? 69. This says 97. Oh, okay. Whoops. Okay. Well, one of the accounts is down, and the other one is flat because the copier didn't work. So that benefited us a little bit. And it was the 100K that took the loss, so we're okay on that end with the drawdown. So we're looking, like I said, one more loss, and we're going to be stepping off for the day. We're going to start to build that discipline. This is just, to me, building up to try and break this and rotate at least to maybe that overnight high. Once I see that Delta, it was
a good entry the first time, right? We got here, we approached our level, Delta didn't make new highs. Now we're kind of rotating down through our initial entry. Now Delta's getting a little stronger to the downside. That would have been our add right there. So we would have 2 on. You know, risking from here to there right now would be too much at the moment. So we're gonna wait a second. Maybe we come back to it again, get a little bit, you know, more chop around here, get a wedge or some sort of pattern like that. Right now we're looking at this. So we cut ourselves off of this pretty early. Like I had my stop just above here. Then I moved it down to here, saving myself 200 bucks. I didn't want to be involved in this. The way Delta was pushing higher and price was looking to just rip. I don't like that kind of price action. If that's what's going to whip me out, then that's fine. But I was taking a little bit bigger risk on it. We do know now that the Delta didn't hold this price up, and we did fail again. So another try at this, possibly up here. See what happens. If we get a good, like, you know, lower high again, maybe get that short on there, and then maybe look to crack this low there on another touch of this trend line. 585 flat seems to be an important level from recent, but this is to me that's the better level right now. It's rejecting that. We're gonna just be aggressive with it. So we took no trades on this account. Technically, we only took 1 trade on the other account, so we're down 330 on that. I'm gonna put that up on the P&L, 350. So that trade, not that it was wrong, but it was the right setup, all that, and then price action was telling me a story that said that I could not stay involved in it, just purely based on the way my entry criteria was met, right? My entry criteria was met on just the price action and the divergence on 365. The price action and the divergence at that level there. Right now we're getting that lower high. So this is another type of setup that I like. We get lower high, and then a significantly lower high, where we're at more of a liquidity zone, and we could look to see if we break this down now that it would be a true flush of the overnight high, low. So I might take my second trade here with a risk not totally to that level there, but because that's a little outside my risk tolerance. But we're gonna see if we can get this thing to flush down to the downside now, just based on this being a lower high. And then if we can crack this overnight low, it's just going to be another confluence here. If we can get a bigger delta push to the downside. We have data problems today, so that's not my favorite thing going on right now. I have my computer's freezing a bit. Price is speeding up. Data is frozen, so hopefully I'm not in this yet. Or if I am, I'm able to manage it, because I don't like when this happens. I'm gonna flatten. Hopefully I don't want anything involved right now, because I don't have the data. You know, if you start to have computer issues, I don't know if you can hear me or anything like that. If you start to have computer issues, stuff starts to fizzle. I'm gonna start to close some things real quick to see if I can just get this to come back. My market data is getting a little jumpy. I don't want to be involved in something if it's gonna screw me up, where I lose connection or something like that. So we would have got triggered in here potentially. No, we were a couple ticks below this, so we're at 77 quarters. So right here we may get entered in. I'm not entering because of my computer data going on, but I may look if I can get a couple minutes of this to just slow down here and get my data back to the way it should be. Then I will look to get this thing short. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna look to see if I can crack this low here. We're gonna sell it here. Hopefully our data plays along. If we crack this low here, we're gonna add on, and then we're gonna take off quick. We're gonna take a profit, the base of this area, and then we're gonna see if we can get this thing to run. Our initial entry was gonna be up there, so maybe we'll look to add that up at that area. Yeah, you know what, we'll add if we crack below here. Still our short zone, still our short idea is still valid here. See if we can get a flush of this level here again. If we flush view out one more time, then we might be able to get down to this level and rotate down to value area low. If we don't get our add-on, we get stopped out, then we're gonna be sitting out for the remainder of the day. We're going too full on it. Nah, you're good. It's holding VWAP pretty good there. So this bounce here is nice little bounce. Should reject this level if it's gonna rotate down. If it is gonna rotate down and flush that overnight low, we're gonna add a little higher now. And I don't want this to kind of break this level there. That's my add-on stop. Oh yeah, it's gonna continue on, huh? I want this to stop out there. I want this to be together, two of them, in case we flush. There we go. This high volume node there got touched, and now we're gonna rotate through it. Looks like maybe we're gonna push to the high side, but if it does reject here and rotate down, we're gonna add on, and we're gonna take that first one off at the bottom end of this little wedge pattern if we don't get stopped out. Did not get stopped, looking to rotate through the bottom end of this. Hopefully we could flush this overnight low now with a powerful move to the downside. It's acting as some good support though right now. Not getting very heavy yet. I want it to rotate down, get us that add, and then continue rotating us through to the downside. So if we get the add on, we're gonna push that stop even further down. I want no centering. So hopefully we don't. If it doesn't, if it flushes here, it should never come back to where my stop is gonna be. But let's be careful with it. That's why I want to have this two guy here together so I can just pull it down as we get the add. So there's a flush, there's a push. Is it going to reject or is it going to hold? It's a little bit outsized. There we go, pushing down. Back to our initial entry. Our add is on and our stop is in place. If we get back above that overnight low, then we're going to probably rotate to high. So I don't want to be really tight to it, but I want to continue to trail this if I can, because if this fails, this add on here, and it flies to the high side, I'm gonna be out. That's fine with me. But I'm playing this as a important level to where if we are gonna get the flush, we want to be involved, right? This is the key where if the buyer breaks, then the buyer breaks and we get the sellers to come into play. And I've pretty much got myself to where I've managed my risk now. If it does pull down further to the downside, we should be able to trail it out. We're right at break even with our floating profit and loss here, but right now it's kind of just dancing around this level. It hasn't really got us that good flush that we wanted to see pretty immediately. Yeah, we want to be just above this zone here because we don't want to get ticked out with this tick here, so we want to be just above that tick there. Yeah, just above that one. Above this little candle here, because if it does kind of break here, I don't want to be involved anymore. It seems like it's a liquidity grab. There's that overnight low again, acting as resistance. If it does break again to the high side, then you could look to see it pop. But it looked like it is rejecting it. Price is dancing around with this level, and we are out. So we're done with two losses there. I'm not going to take any more on that account. Don't want to draw that down any further than that one did. So we're going to try and be disciplined. We did our best there to get an add-on and didn't play out. So we're going to turn off this trade copier. The only thing we're going to do now, we have one more trade left in that other account because we didn't take it. So we're looking to take only one good trade here. This thing is grabbing some liquidity and pushing to the high sides. Oh, I gotta flatten that. I don't want any of those orders out there. No orders. I don't want this. Cancel this. Always make sure that when you're done with a trade and you don't have anything that you want to take, you just take it off, right? Check all your orders, check your working orders, check everything, and see from there. This is becoming a little wedge on both ends. So if we get a break above here, potentially look out for that thing to run to the high side. That is that 605 level is pretty important. You get a crack above that, maybe we go take a long, right? We're holding this now as a liquidity zone. Potential look to continue now that we've failed two of our breakdowns. The breakdown might happen now that we're out, right? We got that lower high, lower high, lower high, and we're just kind of stabilized here. If this bid disappears, then potentially we look to see if it'll flush. If this pops above here, you should get a little pop to that overnight high. And which account is this? 485. So that's 97. Cool. Like I said, it is Friday. Not trying to go crazy with FOMO, and we're gonna work on getting good entries, good exits here. But 2 losses on that one account. This last account here, we're just kind of chilling on it. Gotta see what happens. Let this thing tell us a little bit more information. We took 2 shots on one account at that short, took 2 losses on it. Done. This account has 1 more loss to go, and then we're not gonna overtrade it. We're gonna just let it sit. Potentially could look to see this thing just pop here, break out, run to that overnight high, and continue its bullish momentum here. So I want to see maybe that thing play there. You know, a break above here, and then I'm gonna have a tight stop on this one, not take a full loss, so maybe give myself some room to the upside to break. And just, I'm not so great at bullish momentum, but let's see if we can get that thing to break there. Maybe we can push even further. If we reject this type here, then yeah, we're definitely not going to play anymore after that. But just playing this break out of the wedge pattern on the 3rd touch. If we do break above the high here, maybe look to, like we're going to see, we're going to add one on and then try and get one off at the very top of the close from yesterday. Be mindful that the S&Ps are approaching that same zone again, looking to either break above it or reject it again. So this could be a rejection point for the NASDAQ to follow it. Yeah, there's a rejection of the breakout. We're out. Okay, so we're done for the day. Down 755. Not trying to take any oversized losses. Not trying to do anything like that. It's a Friday. We're not over trading. We're going to just take our losses and come back on Monday. We're going to just stay here on the stream till 11 like we always do. Oh, what happened here on my... Is that right? My screen's good? Okay. Yeah, we're staying on the stream. We're gonna still call some stuff out, give you guys some better levels, give you guys the ideas. If I, I'm not gonna take any trades, so I haven't, I don't want to take any more losses on these accounts. We drew down just enough. We're trying to build good discipline in these accounts before we build them back up. This wedge pattern here is reacting pretty well. S&Ps are approaching this zone that we sold off from before. Right? So just watch that. That could be another sell zone. And that could lead to this selling pressure happen at 85 levels, failing. So, just watch it. Be mindful. Could stay within this range for a while. But this wedge is tightening up and tightening up and tightening up. we took our shots at it. So we're going to try and prove our point with the discipline. If we can do where we take our wins yesterday, you take our 2 losses on the day that I took 2 losses on each account here. And I gave myself 1 shot at this long, but that didn't play out. So realistically, looking at this 605 level as being pretty important, that's that pre-NFP number where we broke totally down from. We've recovered it. We've recovered it multiple times. That's why I took that long there. We're just kind of monitoring this wedge, seeing if the wedge will break. And if it does break to the high side, you probably will get to that overnight high. If it breaks down through the lows, you do have a lot of selling room, probably even into this area here, especially if you can crack VWAP. So you could get a good continuation. Whatever way it does break from this wedge will be your opportunity here, probably. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about NFP? Anything that drives the markets? Anything that why we did? This morning. I'm going over this since I'm trying to avoid trading this right now. This morning I had these levels drawn, right? Overnight high, overnight low. I said with the NFP coming out, if it comes in hot, expect this to clear the overnight low and break down. If it comes in under expectations, then maybe we break that overnight high and continue on to the upside. I didn't have any orders set out. I didn't take any trades, but reasonably, I didn't want to be right up on here because if you're right up on this number when it comes out, you can get triggered in and stopped out really fast, lose a bunch of money for no reason. Like you said, like if you had this super tight here for a long, if it was going to break above and a bounce, and you maybe didn't have a stop, you lost a boatload of money there, right? So reasonably speaking, if you got the break of the overnight low, you probably were going to get a flush. So we could have set our stops down here, looked for this to continue down to this point right there, basically target to target. That was a great move. You got that continuation I talked about also before I left to go bring my son to school. We got that bounce right back to our zone where we wanted to short from, and hopefully you were able to maximize that. Coming forward, we ticked off on 70 at this liquidity zone, like to the tick. We bounced. We've rotated 2 pre-NFP levels, and now we're just sitting right at this level, looking to break out here now, it looks like. And if you can get the breakout here, you probably can, like I said, rotate to that overnight high level. That's the idea here with the breakout from the wedge. So if that's something you're looking to play, you could play that because it does seem like it wants to continue on from our zone. The S&P's is in its little short zone, so that's the only thing I'm mindful of, where it ticked off before and sold off pretty hard. There's a pretty big seller there. Level 2s don't show a ton up here. There's a 29, a 30, nothing like heavy. Let's see if we have the surface dom. I don't have it over here. I don't see it. Dom surface. See if we can get the NQ up here. With the depth of market, we should be able to see some pretty good information here. I do like this heat map. This is one of the things I did use. I did purchase my level 2s from Top Step finally, so I can actually see this. You can see where a lot of these larger orders are getting filled, right? You got the larger circles are fill orders. The heat map is where there's some more bigger players, more liquidity has been executed at those zones. And you can expand this with settings. You can get this thing to be up to, I think, 50 or 100 levels here. So it's pretty cool. I do like this tool. Let me see, quick settings. You can get levels up. I'm going to put it at 50 levels. See if it helps. Yeah, so now you get some more width, right? You could see where there's some heavier liquidity, some hot zones there. These are like large buy orders. Reds are large sell orders. So you can see now you're getting some ticks to the upside. So these are some tools that you can use to kind of help you with liquidity. There's your pop to the high side. If it's going to continue, it should continue right now. We just played that breakout a little too soon. Right, that tick there. Should expect to rotate to the bottom and then a rotate higher here. S&P is pushing through its zone, so this is helping us. 17, 641, 43, 46. That overnight high is your target. So our ad would have happened there. So we would have 2 on right now if we, didn't get stopped there, looking or breakout here from this. So you'd have 2 on, looking to get 1 off at that close, and then having a runner on to probably trail once you get up to that overnight high. So if that's what your plan is, that's what you're looking to trade, that's good. Breakout is going on. Failing that breakout, so possibly looking to fail and roll over from here now through grabbing some liquidity. This doesn't convince me that it's a long here. Seems like the tunes didn't work out for the trading today so far. Didn't give our setup here the follow through that we wanted, right? This was our setup. I had given it to the high. I saw this candle start to push, Delta start to push highs. I thought if we cracked here again, there's pretty much no doubt that we rotate to that full loss. So I just cut bait, took my loss there. Reasonably, if we left our stop where it was, let this thing breathe a little bit, didn't take the Delta and that push to heart, then we would have been entered in with a second order. I believe we had it up here. So could have possibly got 1 off there instead of adding down here and rotating out, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I may stream till 10 today just because I don't really have any more trades to take. No bullets in the gun. I want to provide some value. I want to, I came on at 7:30 today. This failed breakout is very enticing to me. Trying to stay disciplined on a really good setup for me is difficult with the S&Ps rejecting that 30-minute level again. So if we flush this 85s, could look to see this thing puke a bit. Look to see this. If this thing does, if that failed breakout usually comes with a decent sell-off, so just watch out for it if you are in that kind of mindset here. That breakout failed. Should have probably mitigated your losses to, if you did get an add-on, or if you just had one contract could have got you a break even once you broke this high. That's why, breakouts to me, I have a hard time playing them because they usually fail on me like that. So I don't like to play them. I usually like to fade levels like this to rotate down. But VWAP here held us up 1, 2, now pretty much 3 times. Price is pretty choppy right now, right? Kind of difficult to trade. Yeah, still good here. Just got to adjust your little levels there. Everything looks okay for that to continue to flush a bit. Just based on that breakdown. Any other numbers really that's going to come out? 9 o'clock factory orders, month over month. Possibly could move this. And Michigan consumer sentiment final also. So, which it should have already came out. That's probably what moved us at 9. That is what moved us at 9. That's stupid. It didn't refresh on my computer. That's probably why I got whipped around there at 9 o'clock. That was my issue there. That's usually why I don't like to be in on an hourly close, because you get all these number releases at that time. I wasn't thinking. I was looking at my setup purely alone and didn't do it. So that's my bad on that. So you can see why I don't do that. That's why it's a rule in my book. Stay on here, try to be helpful with some of these levels. This wedge is forming, it's pretty tight. This seems like a false breakout, so if this fails, be mindful of that. Could rotate down, get some longs involved, and then stop them out, roll them down, and then roll back up. I don't know. It's post-Fed, post-earnings, post-NFP. Now we're really purely in a price discovery mode, right? Microsoft looking to rotate now. Apple also not populating. It's bouncing. NVIDIA basing up at a high base, potentially looking to either break out or fail. And Meta is what got our earnings there. Still looking at that. So that Meta held that trend line, failed to do the breakdown, got some people involved in puts and ran it to the high side. Now we're looking at the same type of deal. We're looking at the NQ, and we're basing up here at highs. I haven't quite picked a direction. S&Ps did wick off that level there, so potentially could look to short the S&Ps off of that zone once again from 945. And then if that does go, then this should follow. If you're in here and you are looking for something to do on Friday, I am putting in the chat our day trading coffee company. If you use my code policing pips, you will get 15% off your next order. It's a company I started. I got the shirt here, day trading coffee company for traders by traders. Just here trying to spread the word on it, grow it organically. Very new company. We got great coffee. Everything's roasted on order, so you get the freshest coffee delivered right to your door, ready to start your trading day. So now we're getting this flush here. There you go. See, now is the break. Failed breakout. Broke the bottom of the overnight low. Broke the wedge. A failing VWAP. If you can get this thing to continue now, you should get it to follow down to the downside, right? This should be your actual move now. Let's see if it is. For now, we're going to wait. We're waiting on it. Looks like it wants to flush. There you go. That's the push. Really, once you saw this fail breakdown, after that, you didn't get the follow-through that you should have got after breaking that high there. So you rotate through here. Once you accept in here, once you break down that overnight low again, the bottom end of the wedge, this should be your real move now. Clean up some of this. So hopefully you're listening to kind of what I'm talking about, the breakdown that I'm talking about here. I didn't take the trade because I said I had my 2-loss limit for the day. And I hit it on these 2 entries. Not that I wasn't patient. I got the entries that I wanted. And then price just gave up on me and decided that it didn't want to go in that direction. It just wasn't time yet. So it's all about timing. With a day like today, especially, I thought once we cleaned up that. So really what you got here is the best move of the day so far has been the bounce play off of 70. Right? The bounce play off 70 rotated you all the way back and cleaned up that entire NFP push to the downside. So that would have been a great move for you to take. You're risking to only the bottom here and you're pushing up high, but realistically, I'm not looking to get entered in on that kind of push down after a hot NFP number and a Fed that's saying they're not going to cut rates, all these things leading to some sort of downside pressure. So that's why I did not take that long there. I was mindful that it could rotate up there and get us into the short zone, and it did. Initially, we were looking for a short once it entered the 60, but we said that Delta was too strong. It's pushing us through this overnight low, and it just kind of carried us through with no problem. So we waited. We were very patient. We let this thing flush down, came back to our zone here again. If I was the ultimate man of patience, I would have left my stop exactly where it was. My entry was right here below the level there, so I would have been risking my one max loss on one contract and letting it breathe. And if we wanted to rotate it down to these lows here, we would have really a nice move in our hands, and we would be risk free at this point because now we've broken down. Our entry was here. We've broken down again. If we left our stop up there, after we've moved this far, on this second move. I just shook myself out on that delta, right? That push there was just too strong. We were starting to push up too much where I expected this thing to rotate through us and break through here. So if I would have left my stop at this level, got that rotation down, we would have been at least having one winner, and then we could continue to trade on, maybe take our time with that next entry. But we didn't, so we're just being thoughtful on it as far as sticking to our strategy. That was our entry there. I took that short. Then I tried to take the breakdown of this on a flush. We got a really nice wick, added a second contract, and then just got stopped out there because I saw that price was doing the same thing, right? Price did not get the follow through that I wanted pretty fast. I kind of cut the loss down to just above here reasonably. I didn't take two big full losses. I took just the ones that I expected to take. If I want to take any more trades on the day, it has to be 100% A+ type setup, because this is now a false break to the bottom. So does it continue on up, or does it now retest here and rotate down through our zone again? Lots of choppiness on the day. Seems like not a lot of people want to be involved anymore. Not a lot of people want to be involved. It seems like it's very low volume. These moves aren't getting the follow through that we're expecting. Like if I wanted to take a trade, I would only be able to take a very, very, very small loss, and I don't want to do that. The only thing I would do on the 100K account, maybe do it just to show you what kind of action could play out, but I don't want to do it for my own personal discipline. We're not trying to overtrade and hammer into trades here and there and here and there. Like reasonably, you took this trade. Once it got through VWAP, you trailed it out to break even at least. So you possibly got stopped out for break even, or you took some profits as you moved in your direction. Maybe once you flushed VWAP, you were above VWAP, and you were able to secure at least $150 on that per contract. Once you broke the lows here, you kind of expect this thing to follow through. Now that you're getting the lack of follow through, it could rotate up. That's what the thought process is I'm having all day, right? What's happening with price? Why did it do that? Where is this grab? What's the liquidity looking like? We flushed the 85s on the 30-minute. The 30-minute candle looks a little more convincing to being a long setup, right? Where we flushed down these lows, grab some more liquidity. If we broke above this level here, now where the bodies of these candles are all together, then you could possibly rotate through, right? The bodies of those candles are right around 95. So right above here, if you do break above here, you got that false breakdown. You broke above a pretty strong push where you started to initiate selling. On the 30-minute, you're above the bodies of two 30-minute candles and possibly looking to at least clean up the wicks as well that we just created above. So right, if you break above 95, you might start to see this thing speed up. You got some orders there at bigger order sizes above on the ask. So let's see what kind of price action you get there. I don't see anything huge in the order book there. We're gonna look at the heat map, the DOM surface, and see what you see when you get this thing to get above there, right? If you get this thing to speed up at above 95, right? You saw that little wick there. It was a push. Now you're starting to get price to speed up above 95. It's getting above those 30-minute bodies. Now you've gotten people involved long. You stopped them out. Now you got a long, starting to try and play out here. So let's see if that's more of a true push, or if it's another just rotation through to get people stopped out and chop you up all day, right? We've been stuck in this range all day. You need something to drive us out of it. Whatever your strategy tells you, stick with it, and then just don't take oversized losses. Don't jump in and out of trades just to jump in them. That's what got me in trouble with last month. This month, starting anew, still up on the month, but down on the day. Took two almost full losses. We're looking maybe on the 100K. We could possibly take one, small risk on a trade to catch a piece, and then if we maybe get one on there, but every other account We shut it down for the day, 2 losses, 2 shots at better setups, right? Possibly could have looked to anticipate this one a little bit better, but this one here, now pushing to the high side, look to clean up that overnight high level. But we are right at our resistance again, right? Haven't broken through here yet today. Could look to break it now. There we go. We broke that high there. Now creating new highs on the day. NQ new highs. Also S&Ps as well. New highs on the day. So we're breaking through those zones. You can see our zones here. We use this as a liquidity zone. We said if we're going to hold above here, if this is going to be a liquidity grab, then you're going to rotate up to at least that 33 level, and then see what happens at that 33 to 41 is that overnight high. So if we crack that, who knows? Who knows how high we could get on this? The value area high from the other day is 58. So you're going to start to see some push to the high side if this does continue. You know, per contract, you're sitting pretty good here. If you did take that break above from the failed. So the first move happened, got some longs involved, failed it, got some shorts involved and stopped out those initial longs, and now you're rotating up to the higher end. Now are we stopping those people out above the highs and rotating down? Or is this going to be a true continuation breakout to the high side? Like I mentioned, right above 95 is where you're going to start to see that price break out. So we got that 95, 93.50, 95 level there. Once we broke right above these candles here, this little zone, you got that pop, right? Was it because of the trend line? Was it because of this level? Who knows? But realistically for me, it was because of the 30-minute candle bodies and their closes. Once you broke above that area. So yeah, 93.75. So it was the top end of these candles, right? Once you broke that, you got that big push up. That's where you started your buying pressure. And then you got the continued push. So that was your entry right there from that level is 95, right? You had this big flush down. Anybody who's entered here, they start to get wicked in. Once you get broke above here, you speed up, and then you get that really true good. This is the kind of move that I look to catch right on a stop in, where it's a bullish candle, or if you're bearish, it's a bearish candle where it leaves your entry behind. You take zero heat on it, really. You could leave your stop just below it, move it to break even kind of quick because it's in your direction, you're going that way. And then you're going to be able to continue to trail it without any issues. That's the kind of move I like to see. That's what I'm trying to be patient with and get to. S&Ps pushing up to the high end of that little liquidity zone we had from before. Previous selling point at 49.56. We just ticked off on that overnight high there. So 646 flat. Well, really, it's one more tick higher, 647 quarters. So we're going to clean that up, see what happens if we break above that overnight high. If not, if we reject it, you could look to fade it on a delta divergence play like we played yesterday. Or if it's just going to continue to keep going up, then you have nothing but blue skies. It's not new all-time highs, but really this fade from that Fed meeting. Well, it's not the Fed meeting. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The Fed meeting was down here. This was the lead up into the Fed meeting. See what happens on this breakout. If it is going to be a good breakout, or if it's going to continue to get people involved in longs and then rotate them out. But really, I think based on this price action, you got a rally from 70. You based out below this initial breakdown point. Then you finally broke out of it, and now you're continuing on. It should be a decent momentum play where you do get a breakout. Like I said, next real target I have is up there. Even on here, on the NQ daily, the high end of the value area high from the other day is right where we're at right now, 58. And then if you break through that, you got the high end of that failed breakdown from pre-Fed meeting at 17, 735 and 3/4. So that's up in this range here. 735 and 3/4. It's right around that zone there. So, but if we do fail this overnight high, could look to rotate right to the overnight low again, which is right at VWAP. So it'll be a good little overnight high VWAP retracement play. But I do feel like the momentum on this is kind of continuing to pick up. Do we get a failure here? Now it's a very, very strong candle. So our call out right there, the break of the 95s, 93, 93 quarters, 93 halves. That's a good breakout there, right? There is the chance that this 100K account, I do take an order here just to see, only if I see that A plus setup, right? Because I want to show you what kind of opportunity you could get from there. If we fail this hard and then kind of try to tickle above it again, then I'm going to look to get involved with one contract, no ads, just based on this being an A plus area to make an execution. I do have a little room on the 100K as opposed to the 50K, where I am done with executions there. Took my losses on it. This would be just purely to show you the power of that type of entry. However, like I said, we are sort of momentum to the high side right now, right? We based out all night waiting for this NFP number. NFP came out hot. We just rotated right to tick off on the bottom end of this, or the high end of this liquidity zone there, and just push straight up. We came back down, got into a spot where we wanted to be short. This was the zone. We called it out prior to it even pushing up. We were down here. We said, if we get up here, we're going to look to short it from there. Just based on like some of the information that we were getting, this could be that final push to the high side now that people are like, all right, now I've gotten some of the best I can out of this move. We're at the overnight high. That's what we're looking to rotate. Maybe clean it up a bit, get another little push up, divert on our delta, and push it down here. But realistically, this possibly could just continue to just get bid up. It's a Friday. People love to bid things up on Fridays. I don't know what that means, but it seems to be a thing that keeps happening. $17,695.50. I have that drawn up. It was a breakdown level from that pre-Fed meeting. So if we do kind of continue to rally up, be mindful of that 17,695.50 level. That 695.50 level is right around here. I'm just going to draw you a little box and see if price gets to it. Let's see if price gets to that box at that point. If this does kind of falter and fail from here, like I said, I do like to play the failure of the overnight highs. That is my top setup, and this is like a wick above that area. So if we fail the low here, then I want to be involved in this 100K account. This is the 6.9. Just gotta make sure I'm in the right account. Just purely based on my setup. Just to show you a little something. I'm not really trying to be undisciplined or anything. Like I said, I took the 2 losses on the 50K. I'm done with that account. Not trying to overtrade or take oversized losses or anything like that. But this wick above the high, after we got to the overnight high, try to get more people involved. Hopefully we could see if we could flush this down and get this rotation back down to the blue line. If it gets down to the blue line, then we can potentially even rotate down to the overnight low at the red line here. But if it doesn't fail, then you have no. It is what it is. Got involved short on this one to show the strategy at the overnight high based on this grab here above the high, lack of follow through, came back down failing the overnight high, and then I want to see if I can get another push through it. If it does want to bounce off of here again, then you will see this thing gets pushed up and stopped out. We want we'll stop ourselves out probably before it gets there. Potentially, really, it should never break this high if it's not going to go higher. 640, 4150. 4150 was that point that I had drawn up. So if the 30-minute fails that, then we should be good to continue to rotate to the downside. Like I said, I want to get it down back to that level there, if not even lower to the overnight low, because it's not that far off from each other, but I will start to trail it if it does get that flush. Delta's trying to push up and not really quite playing along. You fail it again, maybe you get another push to the downside, and you're limiting your risk here to 185. So yeah, that would be another point to fail and add. Stop would be here, and then this stop would be there as well. And then you're going to take that first one off at the ignition point, and then you get the rest of the move to the downside. So this is the full strategy here. If you don't get the full breakout from the highs, if you fail the overnight high again, then you look to take that short, add your second contract on, and then take it off, and then maximize your gain to the downside. I'm executing on this purely based on my overnight high rotation strategy, not because I want to FOMO in or out of anything. I really do feel emotionally content with the losses that I took on the day. This is purely just a display of what we want to happen, right? You see that thing push down now. We should get the full failure of this level. If we don't, then we'll be out with that loss there, right above here. This is just trying to execute on that strategy to show you what it can be, the potential of it if it does play out. Come on, get together. I can't get these together. I do know how to get it together, but I don't want to do it without. There we go. I'll take them off now. There we go. So now we got the two stops there. If we do get the flush here now, the failure of that overnight high should come in, and we should get that first contract off at that level there. The reason for that, taking that off there, is that bottom end there of that breakout. Possibly look to get through the value area high is really what I want to see. If this is going to fail the breakdown and continue to rock it up, then we'll be out. But like I said, this is my strategy: fading overnight highs and overnight lows. So I have to make that play, right? Every time it comes up, I have to make the play, because otherwise, even though I should have probably just waited for this to come all day, but this is just what we're, and if this is just a grab here and then a push to the high side, then we're out, and that's fine. I can't be mad at it. Really should probably get that first one off at value area high. We never quite got to value area high here, but if we do flush it and get below it, it should come down to where our first target is. This is based on data and where people would more likely want to get short, want to get long, all those things. We didn't break our rule because it's not quite 10 o'clock, so we were prior to the 5 minutes before the 10 o'clock close. So 10 o'clock could induce some selling as well. So being involved now prior, we should be good here to continue to flush. Hopefully now we can accelerate some of this sell side pressure. If we don't, then we're probably going to get stopped out, because look at these wicks to the bottom half side. But 4150 was a pretty important level. So now that we're below it, we should hopefully hold it. hold it. I'm holding this stop strong. I'm trying not to move it. I'm trying to let this strategy play itself out here. There's the push. Still trying to hold. I would love this thing to kind of continue down, obviously, to show what the strategy is all about. We do like to fade these overnight highs. The failed breakouts of them, right? Like this kind of move, that wick there is really nice for it, but sometimes it just doesn't play, especially on like a momentum type day like this on Friday. I do think it still could play. I'm not going to move my stop off of this level, but I just wanted to kind of display what I'm looking at when I get to these zones and what kind of moves could be possible. Like we did get yesterday off of that overnight high. It was, you have to execute off of it. Really, this should have been my only trade of the day here, where it's the loss is this, if it is going to be a loss, because if this is going to rock it up. So there's that loss. That's a flat. We're out. We're done totally for the day on this account here, but this could still rotate down on this move if it fails the overnight high again, right? But we are getting the delta to push up a little bit. Reasonably speaking, the high here is a little too high for this to play out for me as an exact breakdown. That's why I needed to have my stop just above there, just to mitigate losses with that ad that we had put on. But you could still get this failure of this level. That's fine by me with what we did today. I'm not taking any more trades, not FOMOing in or out. I'm looking to build off this account and just kind of grow it organically with our appropriate strategy. Let's see if this does end up breaking the highs. If it does break this high, this yellow box is that target for the high side. Mm-mm. 9:56. Let's see what happens at 10 o'clock. The 10 o'clock time usually brings in some smoothing out of price action. We start to get some direction. We start to move. Yeah, so like I said, I'm probably only streaming until 10 today. I took that one there. I could have left just, maybe one on and left it to the high and not added. But really, the way we had the price action going, we got another lower high. We didn't get new highs on Delta. So I expected this to roll over. You did get those pushes, and that would have been nice if there wasn't some sort of bid holding us up right here. So there is a buyer involved right there. I'm going to draw this here just for future reference for Monday. We still are green for these 2 days. The counts are still positive. We stuck to our rules of no more than 2 oversized losses. This account here, this 100K account, I took a third shot just because it got to my setup and I had to try and take that shot, even though price is still pushing pretty strong to the upside. If we do get this thing to continue on, like I said, above here, look at this 95.50 zone there to be a target. See if that price ticks off on there. Yep, like I said, I'm going to get off at 10, but I want to see if you can just watch this follow through here. It's Friday. We're not trying to chop ourselves up any more than we have to. We're not revenge trading. We're not getting in and out. We're not doing anything that we're not supposed to be doing. Yes, we drew down on the day. We have our, our loss limit hit and on 2 trades back to back. You don't want to keep hammering it because that's how I ended up blowing myself up in January. Yesterday we were seeing it really well. Got some really good follow through on our moves. Today, potentially this could be another good spot, but realistically, we're in some sort of momentum now. I don't know, crazy bull market where we bid off this 70 level to a tick, came up, based out, bid up, based out at this overnight high, and now we're getting that. This is really that secondary push that you really want to see in that setup to fail that overnight high. But you pushed up higher in the delta, so maybe if you crack this zone now, this zone here should give you that flush. But we're done with the day. 10 o'clock was it was a interesting week for sure. We did some good things, some bad things. February has started off okay. One really good day yesterday, and today we hit our personal loss limit. We didn't extend over to a max loss. We did a good job of stopping, taking 2 losses, trying our best at our setups, at our zones, having a plan and executing reasonably. You're going to just take some losses. So just be mindful of that. You got to limit those downside days and then maximize on the winning days. And that's what we're trying to do here. So until Monday, I think that's it for the week. Like I said, next Monday, get over to TradeCaster if you're on YouTube. Hit the links, and then you'll be able to be involved in our giveaways that we're going to probably do on Thursday. If I can get my viewers up on TradeCaster to 25 for the day, we're going to give away a free month. If we can't get about 25 for Thursday, maybe we'll do it on Friday. The day we get to 25 viewers, we're going to do a month giveaway for TradeCaster, paid free month of TradeCaster. So sign up if you're on YouTube for TradeCaster's free trial. Do it on Monday because this stream's done today. It's Friday. Most of the other streamers are probably going to be done and off early on Friday also. So just be mindful of that. Until Monday, I will see you all later. Enjoy your weekend.